Welcome back, fellow Dream Warriors, to Riderpiece Theater! Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Zeztz, episode 34. So first off, let me say to you guys, Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas, including the crazy mama, in both the real world and Dreamland. So I just want to say that off the bat. And golly, this is part 2 of the debut of Zeztz EXdream. And my thoughts and opinions about the suit, I mean, it looks alright. I like it. There was like a fan art in Facebook that has like has a better form. It has EXdream all in gold, at least all the spikes, and you see all the 7s on the wrist. And I have to say, usually 9 times out of 10, the fan art of fans, it's way better than what the studios have produced. That's just my opinion. But it just left me with a sour taste in my mouth, though, because for one thing, remember, Ordom debuted a couple of episodes ago, and then now we're getting Baku's final form this early in the game. And usually, when it comes to debuts for their final forms, it usually is at the tail end of the 30s, like 36, 37, 38, 39, somewhere in that area, leading up to the final 10 episodes of the season. I wonder why Yuya decided to make Zeztz EXdream's debut like in the middle of the 30s. I wonder why. But in any case, his powers are way too broken. And it makes me wonder, how will the villains respond to such a power? Because golly, even I, after watching the episode twice, I still don't understand how EXdream works, other than the way I got it as like Baku can determine which way he wants to end the fight. It's just like he knows, like he could turn the fight into his favor and win almost every single time. And I had to give kudos to Sieg because, when is the last time has he ever used, other than his own captain, seen him use other captains? And he hold his own against Baku's new form, which I will give the devil its due, right? But in any case, before I start to rant about, what I just said, let us begin our tale with Baku. So, after losing his powers, getting shot once again, this time by a monster, and being sent to quote-unquote purgatory for 20 years while fixing the Zeztz driver, Baku makes its triumphant return to the real world as Zeztz EXdream, and you see the Black Case File members in awe. Minami is in awe and runs towards her brother, hugs him, and asks, "Is it you, Baku?" And then Baku says, "It's me. I am Zeztz EXdream, the ultimate agent, and I have a mission to complete." And Minami asks, "Mission? What mission, Nissan?" And Baku says, "Rescue Nim." So now that he got his powers back, now he can speak English fluently. I'm just saying. And one of EXdream's powers, at least for what I got, is that apparently once you're in EXdream form, you can go between the real world and the dream space. Because as you can see, after, telling Minami and the rest of the Black Case File members that he's going to rescue Nim, he ends up throwing himself back as if he is throwing myself into a pool or something. And instead of, laying on the floor, right, hitting the floor, he ends up transporting himself to the dream space. So that means in this form, he can no longer sleep in order to get into the dream world. So I thought, okay, that's self-explanatory, right? We go to the next scene. You see poor Nim crying, seeing Baku's fan mail just disappearing. Well, except, what's left of it, it's just a piece of folded paper. And then all of a sudden, you see the letter just shining, and you see Baku's letters returning, presuming that, Baku is alive. And just when Nem was about to get attacked by these nightmare facehuggers, you see all these 3 doors, and the facehuggers get sucked into those doors and get sent back to the secret garden, thanks to Baku. So he shows up at the nick of time, saving Nem once again from the wrath of the evil Freddy Krueger, Zeztz, and from the evil, cute-looking, creepy-looking facehuggers. And speaking of the secret garden, you see Nox and the crazy lady fighting off against the nightmare, and you see all three mind doors opening up, unleashing a pile of facehuggers, and using the crazy lady's newly acquired black capsin. Nox uses it to destroy not only the facehuggers, but also the nightmare itself. So we go back to Nem, Baku, and Freddy Krueger, Sieg. Sieg, oh my god, Sieg is hilarious. He's like having a hissy fit. He's like, oh, Baku, once again, like, why can't you just let me have the ultimate shadow game? I mean, the ultimate nightmare, for God's sakes. Give me that bad dream that I want. Give me what I want. Give me what I need, man. And he ends up transporting himself, Baku and Nem, to the nightmare pits. And he locks up Nem into a cage. This is where we get a gunfight. And kudos to the actors. They did a good job. Especially what I found it to be cool is that once they ran out of bullets, they just, turned their backs on each other and they just load their guns while they have their backs pinned against the other. I thought it was like, I thought it was, cool with that. But at the same time, as much as I find this gunfight to be cool, I just find it to be meaningless, because when Zeke and Baku shoot at each other, they don't kill each other off. You see Baku taking shots at Zeke, and you see like black mist spitting out, and then the same with Zeke when he shoots Baku, instead of black particles, whatever, it's white, it's clear that's popping out. And it doesn't kill them. So I just don't see the point of a gunfight, when I thought the whole thing was about, okay, if you get killed in the dreamland, in the dream space, you die for reals. But here, on the other hand, you have Zeke and Baku, who are former agents. They shoot each other and nothing happens. They don't die. You wonder why. I think the rules no longer applies to them anymore. The reason for the gunfight, I guess Baku is trying to get information out of him as to why he is after Nem. And Baku knows that Zeke will not give him the information that he needs. So this is where he pulls out his EXdream capsin, his UFO capsin, and just suddenly just brushes it across his body, Zeke's body. A door opens up. It's a mine door, but the only difference is, usually when it comes to a mine door, a statue woman in front of the door, but instead of that, you have Zeztz at the front door. I thought it was pretty cool. And he opens the door, which confuses Zeke as to, okay, what are you doing? Like, where are you going? Well, I'm going to your subconsciousness, Zeke. in order to get the answers that I want. So in the next scene, Baku successfully enters Sieg's subconsciousness as he witnessed Sieg getting thrown in jail. And Baku assumes that this is a time before he joined Code. And Sieg in his astral form shows up, and he is pissed off at Baku by saying, dude, like, how rude. Like, you can't enter my subs when you didn't have permission. But of course, Baku's like, I don't give a crap. You're Freddy Krueger of this season. You're not going to give me permission either way. So I have to force my way in order to get some answers. So he does the next best thing. He uses the captain yet again to go deeper into Sieg's subconsciousness. And this is where we get to witness Sieg's origin story. We get to see Sieg, and he pulled a Scarface. He kills every single thug in that building except for one person. And he calls out this person as Dad. So apparently Sieg is a son of a crime lord. And he is mighty pissed at his own father because he didn't do anything to bail his own son out. And, you know, the dad just didn't really care. He was about to shoot his own son, but not before Sieg pulled the trigger and just shoots him in the head in his dream. And you know what happens when someone dies in Dreamland? The person dies for real. And so this is where it all began for Sieg. After killing his own father in Dreamland, this is where he starts to abuse his power by going after criminals, going after the corrupt politicians while, you know, stealing their riches. So he is pulling a death note here. He is Kira incarnate. Or you could say he is Freddy Krueger incarnate as well. Either or, he is both. And he is committing every single crime as you see his cell getting piled up with money, jewelry, art. Like, it's becoming like a vault full of stolen treasures. And Sieg points out to Baku as he is witnessing all of this unfold. And, you know, there's like news, you know, saying that, hey, mysterious killings has been going around the world. We don't know who the criminal is, and it's mysterious. So again, this is Death Note, Nightmare on Elm Street, all roll into one. And so Sieg tells Baku, look, these people who put me in this cell knows how dangerous I am. They could have just killed me any time. So my guess is the powers that be has to be Code. And he says, you know, the powers that be could have killed me, but instead they're using me for their experiments. And Baku assumes he's talking about Code, even though Sieg never actually responded like, yeah, it's Code or not. He just leaves it at that and let him assume. So he does the Freddy Krueger and the Kira thing, and that's how he ended up with the 1,000-year life sentence, which it doesn't make any sense. I mean, he is still a human being. Like, no human alive can live within 1,000 years unless you're an elf, or you have reached a level of immortality. It's just no, it doesn't work that way. So I just find it so weird as to how Zeke gets sentenced with 1,000 years, knowing that he's not going to live that long. Like, there's no way. So we go to the next scene where we get to witness how he got these powers from. So Zeke tells Baku that thanks to the dream learning, which has been fun for him, that's where he met the Phantom Nightmare. And we get to the Nightmare Pit. You see Zeke and this Nightmare talking, and this is where the Nightmare, creates the Iron Maiden. He throws Zeke in there, and Zeke was like, look, I love bad dreams. And the nightmare's like, wait a minute, the bad dreams don't scare you? And Zeke says, no, real life is scary. I mean, he's not wrong there. And I am very interested in what your bad dream is. And all of a sudden, Zeke decides to grab the nightmare and throws him inside the Iron Maiden with him. And notice that the nightmare didn't do anything to fight back. Instead, he was laughing about it, and he was just like, okay, this is going to be interesting. Let's do this. So the Iron Maiden door shut, and then when the doors open up, you see the fusion between the nightmare and Zeke, and that's how we got the Zeke that we know and loathe. And Baku said that this is where you surrendered your life, you sacrificed your own life and body in order to obtain these powers, which is you can live eternally in the dream space. So he ends up becoming a Freddy Krueger after all. He just became Freddy Krueger, and it makes sense because when is the last time we ever seen Zeke's body in the real world, or at least seeing him alive in the real world? We know the reason why Nem is stuck in the dream space. At least we see her body, and the same with Nox. But with Zeke, we don't see his body anywhere. So now it makes sense. He sacrificed his own life in order to obtain ultimate power. So it makes sense that he is living in the dream space. So yeah, he is legitimately the Freddy Krueger of this season. So Zeke has acquired the power to live in dreams. And not only that, he can change people's dreams. And we've seen, him doing that so many times. So yes, Zeke is Freddy Krueger. So we go to the next scene with emo Alexis Lee, who hasn't slept in months. And he's just, on a phone call. And he is talking to someone on the other side of the phone doing damage control. And you see all these files and, Baku in his new form and whatnot. So they're just talking about damage control. And it makes you wonder who in the hell emo Alexis is talking to on the other line, which it leads to the next scene. So Mulder and Scully meet with the commissioner of the Tokyo Police. The same guy from last year, I guess. Remember, he's the same guy that disbanded the Paranormal Activity division. And so he comes in and tells Mulder and Scully that I need everything that you know about these nightmare creatures. In return, I'm thinking about returning the Paranormal Division back. And Mulder, oh my God, he's just pulling the whole, now you believe me now, Commish, huh? Because the last time we spoke, you didn't believe a word that I said about these nightmare creatures, huh? And now you became a believer, huh? So he's being all smug and being all like, I told you so, like I just find it to be so funny. Mulder, oh my God, you're the gift that gives on giving, I swear. And then Scully was like, yes, please bring the division back. It's very important. And Mulder is caught off guard by Scully's response to the news that, the commissioner is thinking of bringing the division back. And Scully wants the two of them, Mulder and her, to be the ones, leading it, or just the two of them for now. And Mulder's like, really? You? And before I move forward to the next scene, I can't help but notice Scully's left eye. Like, someone from the makeup department must have put too much eyeliner in her eye, because my God, like, she looked like she was putting more eyeliner on one eye than the other. She looked, because the eyeliner is supposed to, bring out the eyes out, but someone in the makeup department just poured too much of it, and it looks like her left eye is just like sticking out while her right eye is all normal. So she looked like she got punched in the face or something. That's something that I wanted to point out. So after this surprise announcement from the commish that, the possibility of the division coming back, which, by the way, I can't help but believe that maybe, just maybe, the commish and Emo Alexis were the ones talking on the phone. So my 2 cents is, if I'm a betting man, betting my 2 cents, I think it's the commissioner that was on the other side of that line. That's my guess. Because why else all of a sudden, the commissioner is asking Mulder and Scully to give him the information about these nightmare creatures and to bringing back the division when he didn't believe since the very beginning. But of course, with the 2 nightmares running amok last week, he has no choice but to believe. But I don't know. Is it coincidence or is something more? So we get to the next scene with Minami. She is worried about Baku, and then she discovers the hook that unlocks the spy room. She unlocks it and is bearer witness to the mess that Baku made in the last episode. So yeah, she has a lot of cleanup to do. We go to the next scene. We see Baku returning to the Nightmare Pit after knowing Zeke's origin story. And Zeke tells Baku that he has seen his shares of bad dreams, but never Nem's. And her bad dreams are at a different level, and she is her own sin. That's the reason why all these nightmare creatures keep on evolving. And Baku tells Zeke that don't trample on Nem's dreams, and I will protect Nem's dream. And this is where they both transform into EXdream, Zeztz, and Dawn, and we have a round 2 between the two. And I'm not going to go into details about this match other than what I mentioned earlier, that this final form of Baku's is way too broken. I mean, I believe, and guys, write in the comments below if you understood Baku's new powers, because I am trying my best to, okay, what are these powers? What can they do exactly? Other than, well, at least in his form, Baku can go between realms, both the real world and dream world, without going to sleep. What I got from this match is that he can change people's dreams, and with that ability, he can change the outcome of a fight to his advantage. So when you think about it, he can automatically win without throwing the first punch, because he can change the outcome of a match. Case in point, we've seen Zeke stabbing Baku with his daggers, and then all of a sudden he gets transported to another place in the dreamscape, and he's like, wait a minute, where am I? I thought I was in the nightmare pit. I successfully killed Baku. And then he sees Baku just walking towards him as if nothing has happened. And Baku said to him, I think you had a bad dream of you killing me. So help me, guys. Write in the comments below, because I'm trying to understand what are these powers, because again, I think him being EXdream, it's way too OP. I don't think any bad guy can beat him with that power. So it has to come with some kind of drawback, or maybe the villain has to steal away his extreme captain in order for him to not win. I don't know. But the vibe I'm getting at is that he can change the match to his favor and just, win, I guess. But during this fight, I find it to be interesting of how Baku was in a way trying to convince Zeke to change his ways, to have him give up. Because at one point in the match, when he gets transported to this top of a building, whatever, and he says to Zeke, "You have so much power. Why didn't you use them to protect the people?" And Zeke responds with, "Well, they're not worth protecting. Mankind is destined to be punished." And Baku responds in kind with, "Is that really you talking? Or is it that nightmare you fused with talking through you?" And Zeke says, "Does it really matter? Like, me, nightmare, or me fused together, whatever, we're both the same." And at the final spot, which was the beach, Baku was like giving him a last chance to give up. And Zeke was like, "Nah, I'm going to fight to the end." And Baku says, "It's, what a shame." And he ends up, killing him with, the great banish, and which ends Zeke. But before he goes away, Zeke just compliments, Baku for giving him the best nightmare he ever had. And it was nice, meeting with you. And then he disappears. I strongly believe that we haven't seen the last of Zeke. He is Freddy Krueger. And like Freddy Krueger, he always comes back. Why else is he still in the poster? I have yet to have seen any pictures of the actor, holding his flowers, saying his goodbyes, anything like that. So between now and next Sunday, if I seen any pictures of him receiving his flowers, then that means Zeke is going to get revived somehow, some way. But I just get this feeling, like Yuya made Zeke to be just like Freddy Krueger. And if you remember with Freddy, every time he dies, somehow, some way, it's due to people remembering him and all that, he always comes back. So Zeke is getting the Freddy Krueger treatment, so he'll be back. Especially when, how many episodes do we have left? Like, 15, 14, somewhere around there. So he will be back. Otherwise, then you would have seen a picture of him holding his flowers, and then a new person will don the mantle of Dawn. But me personally, I don't want to see Zeke redeemed. I'd much rather him just be the Freddy Krueger, and every time he gets killed off, he always comes back, and Baku's like, "Yeah, keep coming back, I'm gonna whip your ass." But yeah, so Zeke temporarily dies, and with his death, air quotes, Nem is free. The cage disappears along with the nightmare pit, and the crazy lady and Nox notice a change in the air, saying that, yeah, Zeztz has once again saved us. He saved the day. And then we get transported to Nem's agency in the dream world, and Baku comes in, picks up the letter. I think it was his fan letter, and gives it to Nem, and tells her that our minds are now free. It's not a sin to dream, and from now on, you're gonna have good dreams. Both of them are smiling and nodding, and everything is hunky-dory, and, the world is saved, Nim is saved, Zeke is no more. But then we hit the final scene with emo Alexis Lee, and he has his grubby hands on a capsule. And you see in the subtitles, and it says code Zamia. So you're telling me that this dangerous code Zamia is actually a capsule with a red crescent moon inside of it. And emo Alexis puts the capsule to this driver. I'm not sure if it's his or it's just a brand new driver specifically for the uses of this capsule. And he ends up activating it. And he says, we're gonna change the rules of this dreaming game. And that's how the episode ends. So guys, give me your thoughts and opinions about this episode. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did I miss a couple of things here and there? Even though I have my notes in front of me, I may have missed a couple of things. You never know. And give me your thoughts about EXdream, the suit design and its powers. Do you think that it's way too broken to be used against, Baku's enemies? Or do you think nah, it's a final form, so let him be OP? Just give me your thoughts and opinions about that. My overall thoughts about this episode is it's fast-paced considering how last week it was pretty slow. I enjoyed the gunfight. I enjoyed Freddy Krueger's origin story, and even though Baku was trying to help Zeke, find the light, Zeke stuck to his daggers and be like, no, I used my powers to cause chaos and destruction because humanity deserves to be punished, and it is what it is. And he died, air quotes, the same way he debuted, as a psychotic monster only Freddy can love. The last thing I want to say about this episode is I liked how Mulder got the last laugh at the very end, because if you remember, it was the commissioner who disbanded the paranormal division because he didn't believe in the black cases, the nightmares. I mean, rightfully so, right? It's just supernatural stuff. But the way Mulder had that look on his face in this episode and just be like, I told you so, and you didn't believe me, and, you're crawling back to me because you need my help, don't you, Commish? Huh? But again, I cannot help but to think that the commissioner and emo Alexis are in cahoots together. But we have 15 episodes left, so we will see what happens if my theory of both of them being in cahoots will be true or not. So it's time for me to take my leave, guys. Happy Mother's Day to everybody, and I will see you all on the other side of Oblivion. Johnny!